Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Magnolia Cardfight Vanguard deck profile for post-Evenfall Onslaught. We have the new Magnolia masks from the Set 12 booster set for Cardfight Vanguard. The whole playstyle still focusing on using the back row for rearguard attacks, and then also being able to utilize more of an option for those units of being able to retire your opponent's rearguards as well for a more offensive play style going up against your opponent with the new Magnolia mask. It doesn't really focus much with the grade 4 option, just going into the Magnolia masks for the full play style of the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck. Also, big thanks to my buddy Anthony for letting me borrow the deck for the profile. But for the ride deck, our starter is Sylvan Beast Lot. The standard when wrote upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Rancor Chain. You run a good number of orders in the deck, so just being able to search out for the Mask of Hydrogen and even just set it up in the drop zone if we already have the Magnolia masks in our hand is a big help with Rancor Chain, or even just being able to add it back to our hand with Black Tears Husk Dragon if we need to discard it for Rancor Chain so we don't discard an additional card as well. With our grade 3 in the ride deck being Sylvan Beast King Magnolia. This is the only copy we run in the deck because after this we'll be focusing solely on the mask play for our Magnolia mask as well for that setup. So with this one copy, at the end of the battle, this unit attack, counter +1, choose one of your rear guards until end of turn that you can attack from the back row, and it gains +5,000. If you Persona Road this turn, it can attack, you can choose 3 instead, but you're not really going for the Persona Ride because our main go-to grade 3 in the deck is our Sylvan Beast King of Calamity Magnolia masks, which we're running 4 copies of. And if you wanted an additional copy to be able to remove another Magnolia in the deck, you can always drop down the copies of Magnolia masks to 3. But with this card, it can only be written from a grade 3 with Magnolia and its card name. On the Vanguard circle, during your turn, all your rearguards with a rearguard with a Dragon Tree marker can attack from the back row and get plus 10,000 power. So setting up those rearguard circles with a Dragon Tree marker is very, very vital for our play in the deck to begin with. And on the Vanguard circle, once per turn, you can remove a card with Magnolia and its different card name from this unit's hand, soul, or drop. And this unit gets continuous on Vanguard. When your rearguard attacks a Vanguard from the back row, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it until end of turn. So the more Dragon Tree markers you have set up, the more you can attack with your back row rearguards to then also be able to retire one of your opponent's rearguards. Taking away those resources is what the main play for Magnolia masks was meant to do. For the grade 2s, we're running 4 copies of Sylvan Beast Alpin. On rearguard, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Magnolia and its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of battle for every 2 of your grade 2 or greater units. If this unit gets plus 10,000 or greater by this effect at the end of that battle, bind this unit, and then you can counter charge 1 or soul charge 1, choosing the option you want depending on the resources you have available to you. Alpin just helps for recovering those resources while still being able to have a 10,000 boost on top of any of the other boosts we have with some of our other cards, and also for the fact that the Dragon Tree markers do provide plus 5,000 power to your unit that's on that circle. Also, for more power for the Mask of Hydrogen search, we are also running the 4 copies of Dragon Tree Wretch Depth Illith with this card. When placed on rearguard, counter +1, soul +1, choose one of your rearguards without a Dragon Tree marker, put a Dragon Tree marker on it, search your deck for up to 1 Mask of Hydrogen, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. So while also being able to set up your Dragon Tree markers on the rearguards, you can use Deep Illith to be able to search out the Mask of Hydrogen, which then can be used to check the top 5 of your deck to be able to add your Magnolia mask to your hand thanks to that card. Also, for the new Magnolia mask support, we're also running 3 copies of Forced Glow Dragon. When placed on rearguard, other than during the battle phase, if your Vanguard is Sylvan Beast King of Calamity Magnolia mask, counter +1, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop zone, up to the same number of Dragon Tree markers on your rearguard, call them to rear, and on rearguard, when this unit attacks, choose one of your Vanguards with Magnolia and its card name, and it gets +5 to end of turn. So just a better investment for your Vanguard to have a little more power. We have a big focus on the back row rearguard, so just being able to give some strength to the Vanguard as well, thanks to Forced Glow Dragon, helps for that setup, but also just being able to choose grade 3 or less cards from your drop and then place them onto rearguard that have the Dragon Tree markers can help to set up some of our back row as well, while not needing to invest our hand into them either. For the grade 1s, I am running 4 copies of Sylvanhorn Beast Sorol. When this unit is placed on rear guard from deck or hand, if you have a Vanguard with Sylvanhorn Beast and its card name, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with Magnolia and its card name from them, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So another way to search out the Magnolia masks as well, building up more numbers in our hand to then be able to use for the Persona Ride power. And if you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Magnolia and its card name and you Persona Road, also increase the power of your back row units. So it's a definite need for this card on rearguard just to add that additional power that your Persona Rides provide to the back row units that haven't attacked either. Having the additional power from Magnolia Masks and the Dragon Tree markers on top of the back row Persona Ride power thanks to Sorol. And our other grade 1s, 3 copies of our Dragon Tree Wretch, Bist Ayatis. Now this card is the Counterblast 1. Choose one of your rear guards without a Dragon Tree marker and place a Dragon Tree marker on it. And on rear guard, once per turn, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, you can Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and choose a normal order from your drop and put it into your hand. More recycle power, especially since we are running the Mask of Hydrogram to be able to search out our mask units, being able to add it back to our hand with Bist Alvatus. If we didn't get the successful search to then place it into the soul for the Persona Ride of our mask unit, we can at least add it back with this card and then have more Dragon Tree markers set up with our other grade 2 Deep Elwylith, being able to also give us that setup to have multiple Dragon Tree markers in the back row rear guards to use for the multiple power-ups that you can also provide for your Magnolia masks. And then for the rest of the grade 1s, 4 copies of Custodial Dragon, just the Sentinel of choice. If you wanted to try out your Elementary Sanctitude, you can, but just with all the unit calling in the deck, that's why we stuck to the 4 Sentinels for the spots for the perfect guards. And moving on now to the normal orders, 2 copies of Mask of Hydrogram, just the search power and the additional option to then Persona Ride. On the same turn, you go into your grade 3 if your opponent is already on a grade 3. Going into Magnolia Masks just for the added pressure for early game for setup for your back row rearguard attacks. And then also the 2 copies of In the Darkness, the Frozen Resentment, an additional order with a Soul Blast of 1. You look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, discard it, shuffle your deck, choose a card from your drop with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and call it to rearguard. So more setup power on the field, but also being able to set up other cards in the drop zone for us to make use of, depending on what that card is. Just choosing a card, you can also set up the Mask of Hydrogram if you need it for that additional Persona Ride, if you didn't have it initially to begin with in the drop. And then for our trigger lineup, we are running the 7 criticals, so 4 copies of Jackalope, the 3 copies of Dual Pressure Dragon, and then the additional draw triggers, so 4 copies, since the fronts really don't give us much, since our main focus in the deck is for the back row power. And for our heals, the 4 Sylvanhorn Beasts, Zia Tarag, for the spot fitting with the theme for the Magnolia deck, with our overtrigger being the Bless Favor for the heal power and the additional critical to a unit on the rearguard, or just one of your units in general. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, big thanks to my buddy Anthony for letting me borrow his Magnolia deck for the deck profile. It just felt like one of those mask decks that got overlooked compared to all the other new ones we got from Evenfall Onslaught, and I just wanted to update it to make sure we stayed up to date with all the versions of Magnolia that we could do. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.